Well, everybody, we are here. We are here another night here at Sound Gospel Radio. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to Sound Gospel Radio, where we're building hope and we're transforming lives 24/7. And we're here for a conversation. Let's talk about it. Y'all know we have been talking about everything. We talked about mental health. We talked about relationships, being single. We talked about, oh my goodness, just brotherhood, sisterhood, happy life, happy wife. We talked about it all here at Sound Gospel Radio, and we just appreciate everyone that is tuning in. Listen, I need y'all to understand, soundgospelradio.com. I'm put the ticker up, soundgospelradio.com. We are live right now, not just on social media. It's a blessing that some of you can see us, but we're actually live on soundgospelradio.com, where you can hear us and listen to us daily, 24/7 gospel music we play. And just before we get forward, we are the Stellar Award nominated station. What's that mean? This is like the Gospel Grammys, y'all. We are the Stellar Award nominated station. So that means we got to go in July to Las Vegas, Nevada to see if we won. And we made it by the grace of God. We're excited. Stellar Award nominated. That means we is somebody. Does that sound professional? Not tonight, but it's okay. It's all right. So listen, y'all, we have a great conversation we're going to talk about. We have a very special guest that we're going to bring on here. A wealth of knowledge, and I'm just really looking forward to just hearing from this young person, this young man tonight. But before we get forward, let me bring on some of our stage, y'all. All right, Hamid Washington is here. Good to see you tonight.
Greetings.
Listen, Camille is here tonight. So good to see you. Tanika Firecracker is here tonight. So good to see you, Tanika. All right, Letitia Wiley is here.
Hello. Good evening. Buenos dias. Tardes. Noche. All of them.
My man, Nate Matthews. Good to see you, sir. Yes.
Good to see you. Good to be here.
All right. Yeah, it's good to be here. Good to see it. And people are already commenting already. We see folk already getting in the comments, and we're excited about that tonight and just happy. So listen, y'all, we're going to get right into the conversation. I'm not going to hold y'all much longer because we need to talk about this today. I'm going to let the music fade on now. We need to talk about this. Listen, where is my money? Where is my money? Y'all know, listen, I know we have all type of people that may be listening to us, that may be watching us tonight. And I'm not trying to just target one audience, but Black folk, we need to talk about money tonight. All right. And listen, we have a financial specialist that is here that is ready to talk to us. And listen, I'm going to just shut up and get the man in the way. But listen, I'm going to just give a proper introduction. His name is Huzaifa. I just love to say his name, y'all. And he's here tonight. He is an entrepreneur, y'all, who has built multiple businesses over the past 15 years, an avid real estate investor. Listen, y'all, he's the owner of Raj Investment Group, LLC. And listen, y'all need to hear this. Those that are listening on the radio and watching me, he has built a 7-figure net worth by the age of 35. Can I say that again? He has built a 7-figure net worth by the age of 35. He has a bachelor's degree of science and finance from Stockton University, a master's degree in physical therapy from Mercy College of New York. So listen, y'all, he's a physical therapist in New York. That's right, Letitia. And
alma mater.
Oh, that's your alma mater. Okay, Look at that. And currently, alongside his pursuit of financial independence, he is building a separate fund, y'all, that pays for the education of underprivileged kids in India, which is his home country. Listen, this man is phenomenal. He hasn't even said a word yet. But listen, guess what? He wants you to know a little bit about him. He said he likes to call himself a personal financial nerd, of which he takes pride in educating and giving back to various communities by sharing the knowledge about personal finance, personal growth, and growing business. But most importantly, he said, before you bring me on stage, he said, most importantly, I want everybody to know, he said, I'm a father and a husband who loves spending time with my family. So y'all, without further ado, we would like to bring on Huzaifa Hussein. Good night. Good evening. Hello, sir. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Doing well and excited to have you here on our radio station here at Sound Gospel Radio for our talk show. Let's talk about it. And listen, we're just definitely excited to get right into the conversation for tonight's show. And we pinned it. Where's my money? Where's my money? Because we want to know, where's our money going? Where's my money? What do I do with my money? How do we spend our money? How do we save our money? And we're looking forward to getting into the conversation. Before we get into some questions, is there just an introduction or something that you just want to share with us before we start asking you some questions concerning finances and financial well-being?
Yeah, for me, it's been a journey, right? It's been a long journey. I've learned a lot along the way, and now I feel like you have a calling where I feel like my calling is to now start giving back, sharing my knowledge with people, helping other people with their money, with personal growth, with finances. Money is not everything, but that is something we all pursue, diligently every day.
Right.
It doesn't always bring happiness, but it does help with a lot of things in life. So it's an important topic. It's a topic a lot of people shy away from speaking to friends or family about. Luckily, I had parents who always talked about money growing up. So now I do the same with my children, But I know a pain point for my wife was her family didn't talk as much about money with her when she was growing up. So I think talking about money from a younger age, talking to friends and family about money that interaction can really build a lot of knowledge and can kind of help solve each other's problems when it comes to money.
Wow. See?
So, yeah, I'm just really excited to share, answer any questions, kind of show you how, kind of take you guys along a little bit of my journey and see how they can help others pick some pieces up and kind of help them in their own personal lives and financial lives.
Awesome. Listen, we're ready to talk about it. We do have somebody that just tuned in, is watching us via Facebook. Dante Davis said, "Hey fam, love y'all and God bless y'all." Listen, love you too, man. Good to see you, and definitely ready to talk about this conversation here. And I know it. I love radio. I love our people. Some people may not, I know the conversation just started, but people may see money. Ooh, I don't know. You're watching the replay. You're going to watch the replay. You're going to listen to this on Spotify. Guess what? You can't hide. We know you're watching. We know you're going to find it because it's a conversation you need to have. You may not want to come in live because you don't want anybody to know that you're one that need help with money. But guess what? We all need some help. And so we have somebody here to help us. You know what? So one of the first questions I like to ask, we can start off there because, we talk about financial literacy. And one of our questions that did come in before the show was, at what age should financial literacy begin? Like, what's too young, or what age should one begin in financial literacy?
As young as possible. So I'll just give you an example with my children. With my son who's 8, we started around 5 or 6.
Wow.
When he was getting money for different things, as a present when he was getting some money or from family members. We created 4 buckets essentially, in 4 piggy banks that said, save, invest, donate to charity, and spend. So he knew every money had there was a job that he gave that his money to, whether he was going to save it for a toy or something that he wanted to buy. If he was going to invest it, I was going to help him grow that money. If he was going to spend it on a consumer item, great, that's fine. He's a kid. Money should be used to spend as well, and donating money too. So we've started that with him for about past 3 years, and that's what we do every time he gets any form of money from either us or family members or Christmas or any type of religious a function. He saves a little bit, he invests a little bit, and spend and then donate. So and then we work with different charities to kind of donate that money too. Wow. So it should start as early as possible, I would say.
Wow. I saw somebody put in the chat, and I do. We have the chat, but if y'all can say it live on the show so people can hear your comment, because somebody said that destination is crucial at such an early age, and I do agree. And I was just like, wow. You said the age of, you said 5?
We start with them at 5. Yep.
Wow. Before we move forward, I see Tanika's back. Good to see her tonight, y'all. And all the way from Ohio, y'all. So we're all over the place across the United States of America. My man, Brian George, good to see you tonight. And definitely happy to have you here in tonight's conversation. And
glad to be here.
Yes, and I see my advisory board member, Sister Ashley. I see you here in Sound Gospel Radio. I see you tonight. And you know why I'm laughing. So good to see you. But listen, it's very important because, I've heard many stories of people that said, my parents didn't teach us, the parents didn't teach us. And many times the parents really just didn't know. They really didn't have the proper knowledge or the proper skill set. But I do want to say this as an application. Although your parents may not have taught you, you probably didn't know. Now that you know that your parents didn't teach you, find out to get some information, reach out to somebody. And again, we're here tonight. We have a man that's going to really share and get deeper. And this is somebody you may want to look up and have a communication with for some tips and some tools as to how we can do better with our finances. All right. Another question that somebody asked. And again, I'm going to say this to y'all. We have some questions that we already had that our staff had put in. But listen, if you have questions, those that are on stage, y'all know how we do. We can easily interrupt. And if you're watching us or listening to us and you have a question, you can reach out to us. Those that are listening to us at Sound Gospel Radio, you know our phone number is 609-316-2766. And you can send us a message there. You can try to email us. We'll do our best to get back to you as soon as possible and ask this question while we're live here on tonight's show. And those that are on stage, those that are watching us on social media, you're more encouraged to be a part of the conversation. But the next question somebody asked was, how can I enjoy life but still budget? I'll say it again. How can I enjoy life but still budget?
So it's a great question. And I understand kind of living for today and saving for tomorrow. Kind of there's a fine balance that we need to have. But there's one saying that my wife and I kind of live by is we can have anything, but not everything. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have to prioritize what is it that you really want? What are your goals? You can enjoy life. What do you want? You want a nice car and a nice house and nice clothes? Or what is it that you can cut back on that doesn't really bring you joy? Many times we start spending money on things that doesn't really bring us joy. It's a quick dopamine hit, but it's not something that is sustainable. That's something that we're going to actually enjoy over time. For us, we like to prioritize traveling, but I'm okay with driving a 10-year-old car. I don't. There's things that you want to cut back on in life that are not as enjoyable to you, and spend money on that you really enjoy. Do you enjoy? If you enjoy a nice car, maybe you won't get to travel as much. But there's not. No matter how much money you have, no matter how wealthy you are, there's not everything that we can have.
That's true.
So you can enjoy life. And what happens is when you go on this money journey where you're trying to build a good foundation, that actually starts bringing you joy because you see your life is a little more at peace. You're not struggling with bills, or you're not struggling with providing for your family members or donating back to your community. When you have financial peace in your life. So when you have financial peace is a form of joy because you have the options of doing so many things once you have that foundation in order. So I don't believe in the fact that you can be budgeting and saving and investing and not enjoy life. They both can go hand in hand. But there's just some things you may have to cut back on. Yeah. And there's things you prioritize, and you actually prioritize in that budgeting with some things that you enjoy. You actually budget more for, whether it's traveling, whether it's you like designer items, or if you like a really nice car. But there's things you're gonna have to cut back on to kind of balance that out.
Wow. Listen, people are already commenting. It's a great question. They said, I like that. And Tanika, I know, aren't you on stage? Tanika, where you at? Did she fall off?
I am here. That thing resonated with me.
Please say that.
We can have anything, but not everything.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Listen.
That was good.
Yes.
Yeah. And then the other thing that stuck with me, he said we have to prioritize and sacrifice. So if you want anything in life, whether it's something tangible or non-tangible, it's going to take some level of sacrifice in order to achieve it. It's no difference in the financial world. So that all of that resonated with me. That was really good to me.
Oh my goodness. Because it spoke, it's practical, but it spoke strong, y'all. We can have everything, but not, we can have anything, but not everything. All right. All right. So listen, we started talking about budgeting. How can I enjoy life but still budget? He's hitting it. You know what, y'all? I'm gonna flip the script early. We ain't gonna wait. We wait until like sometimes that 8:30 hit. No, we're gonna hit it right on. Credit card. Lord. Credit card. Question is, how can I lower my credit card debt and still be on a budget? How can I lower? This is a question somebody said. Somebody, let me read the question correctly. It said, "How can I lower my credit card debt while on a budget?" Now, you answer the question however you want to answer it. Go ahead.
So just a general picture. I'm just going to assume right now, just for this question purposes, that if you have a credit card debt, you may possibly have some other debts as well. So, I would say, addressing debt, you should prioritize the smallest debt first, right? If you have debt of $100 on your Visa card, and then you have $1,000 on your MasterCard, and then you have $10,000 on your card debt, a card note, prioritize the $100 that you need to pay off with the Visa, because every time you get a win, you're going to be more motivated to then pay off your next card or your next debt. Sometimes people scramble to too many different debts, and you have to just focus on one goal. Focus on the smallest debt that you have. Whether it's your credit card, whether it's a student loan, whether it's a car, whether it's just a consumer debt from a Macy's credit card, or any debt that you may have, prioritize the smallest one. Pay that off as quickly as possible, then go to the next one. Make the minimum payments for the remaining balances, but then aggressively go on to the next debt and then the next debt.
Wow. Wow.
Right. So you get a win, right? It's like every time I hit a single, I feel good. Every time I hit a single, I feel good. And then it's going to be a home run. You're going to score a run. You got to hit that single first.
Oh my goodness.
You can't swing for the fences each time. You hit that single, you're going to feel good. You're going to go on to the next debt and the next debt and so on. So attack the smallest debt that you have first.
Mm-hmm.
So attack the smallest debt, y'all, that we have first, and then move on forward. I hope this is helping somebody. Hope I see some people messaging. Now, y'all need to be commenting on the show. I got people texting me.
It's actually a real thing, though, because
Letitia, I'm calling y'all Atlanta. I see you watching Atlanta. I have a friend from Atlanta just text me. You need to be commenting on the show. But go ahead, Letitia. What you got to say?
But it's a real thing, because I am. It's called Snowball. It's a real
Snowball. Yes,
yeah.
Exactly.
It's called the Snowball, and I have been doing this for quite some time, because I had school debt, and I was so excited when I paid that off. I was like, "Woo! Thank God!" Because college.
Yeah.
Oh yes, it feels very liberating when you're able to pay something off. But I have a question.
Yeah.
About debt and saving. Should one concentrate solely on paying off their debt before they start saving, or should they, as they're concentrating on their small debts, should they also put some money aside at the same time?
So there's a lot of people that I follow, I've learned from over the years, and one of the gentlemen that I've listened to over the years, and he has a great concept which I apply to my own life, Dave Ramsey. What I educate when I do any of these small seminars or teaching groups is attack the debt. Save $1,000. If you have $1,000 in the bank, just that's all you need to save, and then attack everything on paying down your debt. The reason being, when you save your money, you're not going to make the percentage that the interest is charging on your debt. So a credit card debt charges 20% interest, 20, 25, 30%. Your savings account is not making 20, 25, 30%. It's making a meager, maybe now it's about 4 or 5%. And back in the day, it was at 0, maybe 1%. So your money's not growing. It's not helping you grow well. So attack the debt. You want to pay 20% on a $10,000 loan. That's $2,000 per year. So attack the debt, lower the debt. Then when your debt is paid off, you have that cash flow opened up, and then back into the savings. So you have about $1,000 to $2,000 for a rainy day fund. Maybe if you have a flat tire, your battery goes out, you need a hot water heater. It will cover most emergencies day to day. $1,000 to $2,000. Everything else should go to attacking your debt. Debt is the biggest thing that takes you from building wealth, right? So you have your income, but if you are always in debt, you're making a paycheck to pay somebody else, right? You're almost like you're slave to the lender, right? So you don't want to be a borrower who's a slave to the lender. You want to be you want to free up your paycheck and your income to then be able to invest and save.
See?
So,
Wow.
yeah, so to summarize the answer, save about $1,000 to $2,000. If you work a spouse, maybe you get $1,000 each, $2,000 each. That's all you really need, and everything else after that just go attack your debt, smallest to the largest.
Wow. All right, y'all. We got
you.
these questions are coming well, and we're going to keep it moving. All right. Somebody asked another question, and I see some more questions are coming in at the same time, and we're being mindful of the time as well. We talked about credit card debt. All right. So somebody asked a question about living from paycheck to paycheck, and the question came in was, how can I live? How can I stop living from paycheck to paycheck when everything is expensive?
This is a great question. It is very expensive. I do understand. Inflation is rampant and things have gone up 20-30% in the past few years. The big thing I can say is, how can you increase your income, right? Can you find ways to increase your income? Can you find ways to build a new skill? Can you apply for jobs in that same field that you're in and take that expertise somewhere else and maybe get a 10 to 20% raise possibly? Maybe you may need to pick up a second shift or do some overtime work, but you have to focus on increasing your income. That's the best way to kind of get through this inflationary phase that we're in and be able to achieve your financial goals. Yes, you have to take a few steps back to then 4 or 5 steps forward. Grow, when I was younger, I was trying to build wealth. I worked on Saturday. I took extra shifts in the evening while I was building my businesses that I had to keep. So what can you do to increase your income? Just look around. See if you can have a conversation with your manager or your boss and say, hey, what can I do to then earn a bigger raise the following year? Or what can I do to improve my skill to then move up a higher position in my company or wherever that is that you work? So focus on increasing your income by increasing your worth to your company, your business. And maybe it is that you have to take up a second job or a second way of making income. It could be through, social media, you're making an income. It could be a way you're making income from home via your computer. There's so many different things that you can do via your computer just at home to make an extra income. But focus on improving your income, which will, really help you live that better lifestyle you want to live.
I see a question. I believe this is a question. And good to see you, Professor Michelle Boldenham. She's been on our show before when we talked about mental health. It looked like it's a question. It says, what if the job doesn't allow overtime? Would you just find another part-time?
Yeah, you can find a part-time or in your company, if you've been there some time, just sometimes all it takes is just having a conversation with your manager and saying, hey, what can I bring to the table that will get me a better raise? Maybe you can bring them a number and say, I would like to, if I do this, this, and this, am I in line to have a $5,000 raise next year? Or what can I bring? How can I improve my skill set? What do I need? Do I need to go back to school for a year? Or do I need to just take night classes? What can I do to improve my income? Or you can start applying to, the job market is very hot for a lot of professions. You just at times may just have to apply to other places and see what your worth is, right? Sometimes we get into a comfortable position at a company and we don't want change. So sometimes we may be leaving money on the table by not moving to another company.
You muted, Nathan.
Y'all heard me on the radio, though. They heard me on the radio. But I hope y'all.
Well, tell us what you told them.
Listen, I hope this is helping somebody tonight. They heard me on the radio because I had to mute myself on StreamYard. All right, so listen, he's been hitting it. I don't care what nobody say, just letting us know what's going on, because these are some really good questions, and I see, like, again, the questions are growing. Another question, we talk about stress. Now the question comes about financial stress. Brian, did you say so much stress that we lost our hair? Is that what you're saying? Me.
Don't do that.
I didn't know. I saw that. Hey, I'm in the ball head club with you. I'm just saying. I would just. You started doing this and stress. I was like, I didn't know. But anyway, the question is, how do you navigate through hardships with financial stress? That's the question that's coming. Somebody wanted to know, how do you navigate through hardships with financial stress?
Do they mean like having a hardship because of finances? I'm assuming that's what the question is.
The best way you can. Yeah, answer the best way you can. Yeah.
Yeah. So the big thing is, I think your money is a tool. And I think many times people just don't have control over their finances. And that's what the chaos of finances is what causes them stress. There's people who make $500,000 a year and are stressed about money. There's people who make $60,000 a year and are at peace on money because they don't live beyond their means. They give every dollar a assignment. My $5,000 is going to go towards my budget for a vacation fund. The other $5,000 is going to go towards my car payment. My rent is $12,000 for the year. Everything has an assignment. When you just start going to a store and just buying things that you don't really need, for example, or your money, you're not budgeting and buying things, that's when your stress happens, because at that moment it may feel good, but when you come back home, now your budget is thrown off. And I think many Americans in general are not budgeting, right? Like your money is just going. It can flow out really fast if you're not careful with how you budget and how you manage your money. So you have to give every dollar an assignment, starting with saving, investing, paying down debt in that kind of order. You have to, if you have those three things down, you're going to be much less stressed. And you won't be, and the hardships won't come, because every time there is a hardship, you'll have that savings account to fall back on. You'll be able to go into your investment account if needed, so you have something to fall back on. But I don't think people are given every dollar an assignment. I'm talking about to a last dollar, you have to give it an assignment. And an assignment means, some of the money can go towards enjoying life, right? It's not about just saving and investing. We don't want to enjoy life when we're 70 and 80. Yes, you're going to enjoy your life then too, but it's not just about living in retirement. I want you to everybody to enjoy their life today, but give every dollar an assignment, and you'll see how much peace that will bring to you.
Every dollar an assignment. Do y'all hear that? Give every dollar an assignment. Yes, Nate, did you put, Nate, I'm gonna put it up just so people can see it on the live stream video wise. Every dollar an assignment, y'all. Listen, we're having a great conversation here tonight. We're talking about our money today. We have financial specialist Huzaifa, y'all, Hussein, who's here with us tonight. He's not only, y'all, on social media, but we're also listening to him at soundgospelradio.com. So I want to give a shout out. I see Connecticut in the house. I see Pennsylvania, New Jersey, of course, is listening. Somebody over in Germany is listening. God bless you. And so many people are tuned in, even on our radio station, as well as social media. And the questions are coming in because he's answering these questions, y'all. And we're definitely excited. Get it while you can get it, as the questions are coming in tonight here at Sound Gospel Radio. All right. So somebody had another question, and we're moving. What are examples of investments? Somebody want to know, the stock or savings? Question came in. What are examples of investments, the stock or savings?
So I'll just kind of start from the broader picture in terms of what most Americans should do. Most of us should do in general. If you're an employee, if you have a 401k or a 403b plan from your employer, and you have a match from that employer, let's say it's 3% or 5% match, that's your first thing to invest in, right? That is, they're doubling your money essentially. So just math purposes, if you are making $100,000 and your company matches 5% of what you contribute, okay? So if you're going to contribute $5,000, they'll match that $5,000. So that's where you need to start. Is start with contributing to your 401k or your 403b. They both are pretty much synonymous. 403bs are generally for non-for-profit companies will offer you 403bs. For-profit companies offer 401k. There's the same thing It's just a different term, a different number, just because of profit, nonprofit. But start with investing in your retirement accounts that are given by your employer. That's the first step to take. And then after that, investing and opening up a savings account. Yes, you should definitely have a savings account for a rainy day fund. And then you can go down the list of, then investing in individual stocks, individual bonds. But I think if most people just invest in their 401ks or 403bs consistently, okay, it's not just, I did it for 1 year or 2 years, I stopped, or I needed the money. Consistently invest, the compounding takes place. You'll see compounding take place after 5-10 years. You'll see that money grow rapidly. It's that snowball kind of effect with investing as well. It may look like I only have $3,000 in there 1 year. Okay, $6,000 the next year. But when it grows to 20, 30, 40, 50, that's when compounding will take place. That's when the money will really start growing. So you have to be consistent with investing in your 401k or 403b and their tax advantage accounts. So again, for example, if you're making $100,000 and you're contributing $5,000 into it, tax deferred, you're only taxed on the $95,000, not the $100,000. So your taxes are a little less as well. So first thing, start with your 401k, your 403b. At least invest up to the match that your company gives you, because you don't want to leave that on the table. Invest at least up to the match. And I tell, with Nate and some of my other friends that a lot of the seminars that I do, every year you get a raise, increase that percentage by 1% or 2% every year. If you get a 3% raise every year, add 1% to that contribution that you're doing to your 401k. So if you started on year one, you're contributing 5% of your income to the 401k. Next year, you have a 3% raise, increase it by 1%. You're still going to get a 2% raise to your own self, but increase that 5% contribution to 6%. Then the following year, 7%, then 8%, because you'll learn to live on what you don't have coming into your home, right? It's going into an investment account that you can't access right now. It's going away, right? So you'll learn. You just think of it. What if your job, you were making 90,000 instead of 100,000? You would have still lived a pretty good life in terms of 90, but we get used to the 100,000. So once you start contributing that money away into the 401k, you'll get used to the paycheck that your take-home paycheck is going to be, but that money is going to start growing.
Wow. Oh my goodness, y'all. Listen, the conversation is moving and it's moving well. Listen, this man is talking tonight. And listen, what I'm going to do, this is free information tonight too. He came in and we appreciate it. I don't know about y'all, but I'm actually going to go back and listen to the replay. And when it get on Spotify, y'all give us about a couple of weeks. We'll have it on Spotify. We'll have it on Apple Podcasts that you can enjoy it for our podcast listeners. Those that watch us on Facebook and YouTube, I'm going to go back and listen to this and watch it again, because this is valuable information. And so you already talked about the 401k and 403b, because that was a question that someone had, because they had this in line. But I'm going to ask the top question. A part of that question was, the person said, I'm young. I hear people talk about these things and I don't understand, which one of them was the 401k, the 403b, but also they want to know, what are IRAs? They wanted to have some information about that. They said, I'm young. I hear people talk about these things. I don't understand.
So IRA just stands for Individual Retirement Account, which is essentially what a 401k or 403b is. And it's an individual retirement account, except that it's offered by your employer. Let's say you have your own small business, or you're not working, you're a student, but you have some side hustle where you're landscaping and making some cash. Or let's say if you don't have an actual 401k or 403b because you have a 1099 job, you're a real estate agent, or your business, you're in sales and you work for yourself. You can open up an individual retirement account to save for retirement, which it can be tax deferred, meaning you don't pay taxes on that income right now because you're putting it away. So it's just an individual retirement account is an account that you open up through Fidelity or any of the small brokerage firms, any of the bigger brokerage from Vanguard or Fidelity. Just think of it like a savings account, except it's for retirement and it's tax advantaged. So again, for example, if you're a realtor making $100,000 a year, but you don't have a 401k or 403b through your employer because you're not employed by somebody, you're working for yourself, you made $100,000 and you want to put away $10,000 in a retirement account, you would open up an IRA. You would put $10,000 away in that retirement account, and now you're only taxed on the $90,000.
Wow.
Okay. So it is just an individual retirement account, just like opening a savings account. You would just open up an IRA, but you cannot access that money until you're 59 and a half, 60 years old, because the goal is you're putting that money away for retirement.
Got you. Yeah, that definitely.
There's some stipulation where you can access that money earlier, like if you're a first-time home buyer, if there's an emergency in your life, there's certain circumstances, but generally speaking, it's put away for retirement.
For retirement, okay. I have we'll get to one more question. I'm going to read this one question because a lot of people have been asking, and I hear this question often, and then we'll get to who was in line. I guess Hamid and some of the people.
Hey, Nathan, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Just a follow-up question on saving for retirement. Are we going to get anything when we retire? Like, is it really important for us to pour into this retirement? Because it's looking like we're going to be working a long time.
Yes. If you're consistently contributing, even if it's a small amount to your retirement account, and it's in a mutual fund that's returning about 10-12% a year, that money is going to compound, and you will see the fruits of all the work that you're putting in now if it's consistent and it's every year you're doing it. The American stock market has only gone up, since it's been established. America's always prospering. These companies are always growing. And you feel like a business owner, because when you're contributing to a 401k and you have a mutual fund that bought the S&P 500, which is the 500 top companies in the country. Now you're part of that. You're part owner of those 500 companies. As they're growing, your money's growing. So I would say anybody, that is a great question, but would you rather retire with, say, $300,000, or would you retire with, have that mindset of, am I even going to retire and then have $0 and still are working? You could still be working, but it's nice to have a few $100,000 or even more while in retirement to kind of give you a little bit of a break while you're working, instead of not having anything for retirement.
All right, listen. Listen, so many questions are coming, and I'm loving it but y'all, when those are in the audience, because they're here watching this live, so I'm going to just trump all the questions for a moment and let John Williams come in. And good to see you again tonight. Question was, how can I compound interest to my advantage? I asked the question again, how can I use compound interest to my advantage?
So compound, essentially, that's as I was mentioning earlier. Compound interest is essentially your investment is growing at a rate of 5, 10, 15% a year, which is what the American stock market gives you. It's about 10 to 12% growth every single year. So compound interest is when your money is growing 10 to 12% a year. If your money is growing 10 to 12% a year, you're going to double your money every 7 years. Okay, so think of it that way. So I started with $10,000 on year one is what I invested. If you're earning about 10 to 12% on that, after 7 years, that $10,000 has become $20,000. And then after another 7 years, that's become $40,000. So that's 14 years. And then after that, it's become $80,000 in 21 years. So you see how the compounding, you could have invested $10,000, left it there in the S&P 500 fund, okay, which is offered in most retirement accounts. And that money, that $10,000 will grow to 20, 40, 80, 160 by the time you're retired. Let's say you start at the age of 30. So just one investment of $10,000 can compound in 30 years to $160,000. So, but contributing that $10,000 every single year, and it doesn't have to. I mean, I know 10 is a big number. Let's say you are doing 4 to 5,000 every single year. It's doubling every 7 to 8 years. It's doubling every 7 to 8 years. That's why I said, if you give your money time to grow, you'll see in 10 years that bucket is going to look huge. It looks like a far path, but once you start contributing as part of your lifestyle, that money is going to constantly grow when it's invested. So that's compound interest. Essentially, your money making more money, invested money making more money for you.
All right, y'all. Listen, the questions are coming through. All right. I mean, I'm going to get to you just one moment because I know you're a patient man and I appreciate you. This is another pre-question I wanted just to ask, and then we'll go to Hamid's question. Somebody wanted to know, they said, what will you suggest to someone who didn't come from money or have the education and is now a little older? I asked the question again. What would you suggest to someone who didn't come from money or have the education and is a little older now?
Just books and just soaking up knowledge from different avenues that we have online, right? The biggest thing, again, I would say for somebody who is even older is just start budgeting. First, just see where your money is going, or at least go back to your statements from 2 to 3, 4 months, for 5 months, 6 months bank statements, and see where your money is actually going. What's happening with your money? I think people lose track of their day to day, and they're so busy with their families and careers that they don't really know where their money is going. It doesn't matter what age they are. I think just understanding where your money is going, what you're spending money on, whether it's something that you might have signed up for a year ago that they're still charging you $10, $20, which you forget about, or you're spending money on things you realize I'm just ordering too much takeout, or I'm ordering too much of this, and I'm paying DoorDash $20, every 2 weeks to just deliver food to me that I could go pick up. Just understanding where your money is going, and no matter what you are, and then budgeting is a great way to kind of reset and understand and give every dollar an assignment that we spoke about earlier. But there's many books out there that I've read. There's a book by Ramit Sethi, which is called "I Will Teach You to Be Rich," which talks about a lot of things I'm sharing today. Dave Ramsey is a great resource for many. If you just see a lot of his videos online on YouTube, or if you could just Google him and see what his philosophy is on money. Those are the great things to I would say just read, books. You can even go to, there's so many free books you can get out there at your local library that you can, start there, I would say.
Listen, that it adds up. Can I say that real quick? We were talking about that, especially during the pandemic. I'm gonna say when the pandemic was really up there and we ordering stuff. And I remember it was like a month had passed. My wife and I was looking at, I'm like, this delivery stuff it was adding up. Like something we could have went to the store, pick up, put your mask on, all that, but that stuff adds up and we don't realize it. I had a relative that was going to a local establishment. It's only $5. I'm like, and I told him to count up to $5 per day times the week times the month. Look at how much money you just spent compared to you making a lunch from home. And they're like, I didn't look at it that way. Because you say in your mind, oh, it's just $5, or this is just a delivery fee. But all that stuff adds up after a while. It really does. So it's the truth. When you said that, I was like, wow. Hamid, go ahead, man. You've been very patient, and I appreciate you so much. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you so much. I had a question because you mentioned a whole lot. You talked about savings and saving $1,000 and putting that aside. But if you could, to the general audience, to those that are listening, what's the difference between a regular savings and then a high yield savings? And why would I go over here opposed to here, or vice versa?
Your most big bank checking accounts, when I say high yield savings to a regular savings, they're pretty much one and the same thing. A lot of these online banks, what I mean by online bank is they don't have a brick and mortar actual bank that you can go to. So Ally Bank, there's Discover Bank. A lot of these non-brick and mortar online banks give you a higher rate because they want to pass on that higher interest to you since they don't have overhead, right? So if you open up an Ally savings account or a Discover Bank or a Capital One savings account, they'll give you 4.5% on your savings account. Whereas if you go to a Chase or a Bank of America, they may have maybe 1% or 0.5% in your savings account. But to make it very simple, just saving $1,000 or $2,000, whether you're saving to a high yield or a regular savings account, high yield just means it's just giving you a higher interest versus a savings account that's giving you a normal interest rate. But usually there's a 2-3% difference in that. But in the bigger picture, just saving the first $1,000, $2,000 before attacking your debt is the actual goal. Then you can get into more of the nuances of, hey, I want to be in a high yield savings account versus a regular savings account. You could even have the money in your checking account if you wanted to, but you need to just have $1,000, $2,000 away for a rainy day fund while you're attacking your debt.
Okay. And another question I have is when you speak of investment outside of stocks, outside of savings, what else is there? I heard properties. I heard insurance. What else is there that somebody could actually invest their money into?
So investing, so your 401k or your 403b is the best tool to start with. And when you invest in your 401k or your 403b, usually your employer via the brokers that they use, whether it's Fidelity, for example, these are just banks that let you invest your money. So many people have Fidelity, or it's Vanguard, or it's Capital One, whichever brokerage that your employer is giving you will have a list of mutual funds that you can invest in. And even if that's also very complicated for you to kind of pick which mutual fund should I pick, that's also it requires a little bit of education. The best thing to do is all of these companies have a target date fund, which means if I'm going to retire in 2060, there's a fund for 2060 to kind of invest your money along with you as you're aging. That fund, for example, that's something that a fund that is for 2040, somebody who's retiring in about 15 years, is going to be a little more conservative in their approach and their risk taking versus a retirement fund that's a target. They're called target date funds. For example, if someone that's retiring 2060, that fund is going to be a little more aggressive with the money because you have a lot of time on your hand before you're retiring. So just investing in your 401k and picking a target date fund will get you a great return on your money. And then from there, you can expand to individual stocks and such, but that would not be in your retirement account. That would be something you would open up a separate brokerage account to invest in stocks. And then after that would be properties and so on. But for most, if you just start with your 401k, 403b, and just do it for a long period of time, you will be wealthy. But the consistency is the key. And investing in that target date fund and letting it do its thing. It's invested in the whole stock market, and the American stock market on average goes up 10 to 12% a year. Yes, there's rough patches along the way, but over time, over a 10, 15, 20-year period, it's going to go up about 10 to 12% a year.
Yes, sir. All right, listen, y'all, we got 11 minutes left. We still have some more questions. And if you're watching us live, if you're here at Sound Gospel Radio watching us live and listening to us, you still have some room to get your questions in. I'm checking the back door. My wife is working diligently behind the scenes. Honey, I see you, and I appreciate you so much for what you're doing because you are not playing and making sure we get these questions in here. So I appreciate you. All right, y'all, we have another question here. This person said, I am a senior citizen. I am on a fixed income. So what suggestions would you have for me to gain wealth or profit? I'll read it again. I'm a senior citizen. I'm on a fixed income. What suggestions would you have for me to gain wealth or profit?
If you're a senior citizen on a fixed income and you do have money left over, since you're a senior citizen, you don't have that. You don't want to be taking too much risk out there, right, in the stock market or any other investment vehicle that has a lot of risk. So for somebody right now with the current environment, like a high yield savings account usually pays about 4 to 5% interest on your money. That's a great way to just grow your wealth in a very non-risk way by just letting your money make some 5 3 to 4, 5% a year. So your $10,000 would make about $500 a year. If that's what you're invested in for, let's say, a high yield savings account, but it's $500 is pretty much risk-free return. Okay. If you're a senior citizen, you're putting your money in the stock market, that stock market could go down 10% tomorrow. That 10,000 will become 9,000 overnight. You don't have that time for it to become from 9 to 20 again, or 9 to 15. They may not have that kind of time left in terms of their risk tolerance. So just investing in a high yield savings account, if you have money left over, and just consistently putting money away in your high yield savings account, let that money just grow 2, 3, 4% a year. Because the current interest rate environment is very high. We weren't getting that about pre-COVID. Interest rates were about 0% pretty much at a savings account. You got maybe at 1% at most. But most banks are still giving you 4.5% interest on your savings account.
All right, y'all. Listen, we still have got a few more questions in here, and I'm just saying, listen, the answers are coming. This man knows what he's talking about. And listen, I somebody that built a 7-figure net worth by the age of 35, you can tell me something tonight, and that's who we have here tonight. We have Huzaifa Hussein, who is here to talk to us, and he's some great questions that are coming in, and the answers are amazing, and I'm enjoying this tonight. Listen, we have another question. The person said, once a person is debt free, and they put in, and when they sent their question, they put in parentheses, credit card debt free, how should they save their money? I'm going to answer one more time for those that are listening, because this may be you tonight. You need this answer. The question is, once a person is debt free, credit card debt free, how should they save their money?
Once your credit card debt free, you want to save up about, I would say, 3 to 6%. 3 to 6 months worth of your expenses in a savings account. So then you can start taking some bigger risk in your life in terms of careers or businesses. So once you're totally credit card debt free, if you're spending $5,000 a month, on all your bills and just your lifestyle is what you need, save up about $30,000 in a separate savings account that you don't touch again. That is your emergency fund. Now you're really setting up yourself for success, because hopefully you never have that type of emergency, but if you do, you always have that money there. And then anything on top of that is what you can use to then invest in stocks. You can save up for a hefty down payment for your house. You can start paying down your mortgage, because you don't need more than 6 months in a savings account. If you're investing in your 401k, if you have a 3 to 6 months emergency fund in your savings account, after that, I would just attack your mortgage. I would save up a big chunk for a down payment for a house. You could invest in stocks, or look to buy a rental property. But if you really open yourself up for success, because you have zero debt, you have 3 to 6 months of savings in your bank account. So, like I said, if you have $30,000 in your savings account, and after that, now you have all that money left over to start a business, to, if you want to invest in properties, you want to buy individual stocks. But the big thing is, make sure you're investing in your 401k diligently. And everything after that is just, you can start taking some risks. That's when the fun kind of begins with your money.
Wow. Listen, I agree too. Jay, I agree with you, Jay. Huzaifa is an incredible resource. Yes, what a grab for this. I agree with you. I tell you, free information. This is stuff people pay for this information. And he's here tonight for free, y'all, for us, to help us tonight. I don't know if y'all saw me looking down at the phone. You taking notes? Well, we taking notes. Taking notes as this man is talking tonight. So listen, great information is coming. And I guess to piggyback in that, the question came in, I guess right after that, said, well, should we put the money in our savings? I think you talked about it, but I just want to knock out anybody's question. Should we put the money in our savings instead of a retirement 401k?
I would say you absolutely have to put money in your 401k, because your savings account is not going to grow at the rate your 401k is going to grow. Savings account interest rate fluctuates up and down. Usually the stock market, which is, when I say the stock market, it's the mutual funds that you're invested in, right? So the S&P 500 are the 500 top companies in the country. When you buy a mutual fund that has the S&P 500, the 500 top companies in this country, which grows about 10 to 12% a year. A savings account, the max when interest rates are high, give you about 5%. So your money is always going to grow much faster in a 401k, and it's a tax advantage account, right? So we talked about that tax advantage. You're saving money on taxes as well, and that money is growing for you. Instead of paying Uncle Sam, you're invested, and your money is growing. Versus savings account you're putting in money that you're bringing home, your after-tax money. Your 401k is tax deferred money that you're putting in before you're taxed on it. You're only taxed on the money that's left that you're getting as your paycheck. So again, example, like we talked about the 100k. If you're making 100k, but you're putting 10,000 into a 401k, you're only taxed on the 90,000, not $100,000. Your income was only 90,000 for the year, not 100,000. But if you want to put money in your savings account, you're going to realize that 100,000 be taxed on it. Then when you bring that money home, your net income, then you're going to take some of that money and put it into a savings account. A savings account is a tool for just a rainy day fund. All your rest of your money should be invested so it can grow faster. Savings account is not an investment vehicle. It's more of a rainy day, an emergency vehicle that you have for any life circumstances that may happen.
All right. Listen, y'all, we got about 3 minutes left. If you have a question, you can answer it tonight. There's an old song they used to sing, don't let this moment pass you by. Don't let this moment pass you by tonight. All right, don't let it pass you by. 2 more questions that we have that was sent in from our staff, and I appreciate you, staff, and those that are listening. I think tonight, and I ain't going to get on y'all tonight because y'all know how I am, Huzaifa, they're not usually just quiet. They're not usually just quiet, but I believe that they're quiet. You see some people like Letitia just looking like this, and Tanika's like,
no, I'm giving I was putting my notes in the thing.
No. What I'm saying to you is, I'm calling you out for a reason. Now, let me clean it up while I'm calling you out, because they're actually listening. We are sponges tonight. And so the reason why I said that, everybody is a sponge. I'm watching the whole time we're talking. Everybody's like, oh yeah, okay. So usually we're more talkative. Usually we're more chitty chatty. But tonight we were receiving. We were really sponges, because you're answering some questions I've had. Some people have been asking questions that, I didn't think of asking that. And so you really have been a wealth of knowledge. And I'm just like, wow. So listen, Jay had another comment. He said, if you were 20 years old today, what would you do to set yourself up for 35-year-old Huzaifa? Can I read that again? If you were 20 years old today, what would you do to set yourself up for 35 years old?
At 20, I would really, again, go back, concentrate on getting a good college education, a marketable degree for today's day and age that can be a high income degree, right? Again, when you're going to college, when you're picking a degree, you want to also realize, yes, you're pursuing a passion of yours, but also realize that there's a return on investment when you're investing so much money into your college education. So first, I would get a marketable degree, which would let me have a high income job or a stable job. And right away, I would start investing in my 401k that my employer has given me, right? At least up to the match, if not more, because I know compounding from the age of 20. I mean, there's math where if you invested from the age of 20 to 30, this is for the younger audience that's out there. If you just invest from the age of 20 to 30, let's say you invested $10,000 a year, $5,000, even $3,000 a year from 20 to 30, and just left that money, you'll probably have $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, maybe $1 million by the time you're retired. You don't have to invest after 30, because time is doing its thing. The compounding is doing it. The earlier you start, the more your money is going to compound. So you have to start early. And I mean, there's no better time than starting today, but for any of the audience members, but you have to start investing and your money is going to grow. But consistency is the key. Consistency is the key.
Listen, I have 2 more questions I'm going to probably throw out here tonight. I'll probably extend this show probably just a couple of minutes. If y'all enjoyed him tonight, can you put in the comments that y'all enjoyed him? Because listen, I'm really considering having him come back for a private workshop, and this workshop will be something that we have to register for. So if you haven't already, you can go to soundgospelradio.com. It's been scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Those that are listening to us on the radio, you can visit our website, soundgospelradio.com. Scroll down on the front page. You'll see something called Join the Family, and just submit your email address. That's all you have to do. And when you submit your email address, we will keep you updated with the things we're doing here at Sound Gospel Radio, because I am considering having him do a workshop for us that we can get even more deeper into this conversation. It won't be live. It won't be on around the world. It'd be a nice, intimate conversation where we can register and sign up to be a part of this conversation, and definitely happy to have him with us. So there was a question. Somebody said, is there a budget tool? Oh, y'all commenting. Yo, I see the comments. Okay. They said they enjoyed him. Okay. I love it. Y'all enjoying him tonight? That is so good. Listen, that's an encouragement to him, y'all. Listen, encourage him tonight. Let him know he's saying something, because he is. All right. Is there a budget tool? This is the question. Is there a budget tool you suggest, or do you follow the 80-20 rule? This is a question somebody wanted to know.
Let me go on the 80-20 rule. I think they mean by the 80-20 rule, it's more about investing 20% of your income, and then you're spending pretty much that 80%.
Okay.
I do follow something along those lines. When I talked about investing in 401ks and such, my approach is I do like a top-down approach, meaning when you give every dollar an assignment, I'm just going to say math purposes, again. So if my income is $10,000 for the month, I have invested $2,000 right from the top, and I only have $8,000 left over, and that's when I have $8,000 in assignment. But my first $2,000 has gone to investments, so I only have $8 in my pocket to spend, instead of bringing in 10 in my pocket and then saying, okay, now I'm going to send 2. My 401ks and such will take that money right off the top from the paycheck before that paycheck actually even comes in, right? So then you're learning to live on the 8 versus 10. So I think the 80-20 rule is something, I think that's what the person means by 80-20 rule. That's what it usually in the finance world is, investing about 20% of your income and then spending that 80%.
All right. Listen, y'all, we're going to have to end the conversation. I saw the question. Listen, you answered a lot. You did a whole hour almost straight through. Somebody wanted to know about what a 529 is. Somebody wanted to know how you create generational wealth. Should we ask the question? You want to answer it real quick?
Yeah. I mean, the 529 is it's a college savings account that you would open up for your children. You can open up separate ones for your children, or you can just have one. And then if they're different ages, you can start using some of the money for the first child, and then make the second child the beneficiary, and use whatever money's left over for the second child. But again, I like I talked about, giving every dollar an assignment. For me, how I do it is I have 2 separate 529 accounts for both of my children. So it's separate buckets of money instead of kind of jumping like one bucket for both the kids. A 529 account is essentially an investment account it's used for funding a college education for your children, and you're not taxed on the gain of that money. So if you've invested $10,000 today, the day they were born, and let's say it grew to $100,000 by the time they're 18, that there's a $90,000 gain that you've made, correct? You will not be taxed on $90,000 if you use that money for your child's education. So 529 essentially is a college savings account. It's an investment account, which helps you fund your child's education, as well as helps you for tax purposes as well.
I just want to say this as we get ready to close. He didn't say a little cup. He didn't say a basket. He said a bucket. Did y'all hear that?
Yeah.
Listen, he said that can hold a nice wad of money. Okay, listen, I need y'all to pay attention to the jargon.
Nathan, give me some of your money so I can put it in my bucket.
Some of my money? Oh no, sis, you need to
give me some of your money so I can put it in my bucket.
I gotta say it's in my 401k. I'm sorry, I can't help.
God bless the children.
Listen, oh my goodness, man. Y'all, we had such a great conversation tonight. Huzaifa, thank you so much. listen, the entrepreneur himself, y'all. Listen, I wouldn't be surprised the way this man is going that y'all see him on mainstream TV, that y'all see him on mainstream platforms. And we had the opportunity to have him here at Sound Gospel Radio. We had the opportunity to have him on our platform. I would not be surprised with the way he's going, that he's going to be the multi-billionaire. And you'd be like, yo, we met him. Y'all remember this name tonight, y'all, because I believe there's great things that's in store for him. And we thank you so much for being a part of us. Listen, y'all, great conversation we had tonight. Josefa, just thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. We really were like gleaning tonight. Just great information.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, and I hope I was able to answer many of your questions. Email me if you guys have any other questions. I'm always willing to help. And if you want any clarifications, please email me. But thank you again for having me. I enjoyed everybody and I enjoyed all the questions.
And since you said that, if we can type in your email address real quick, what email address would you like for us to contact you at?
I'll put my Gmail. You want me to put it in the chat? Or do you want to share with the group?
Yes, we can put. We'll make sure of that. So that's what I'm going to do, y'all, because we're way over time. I like to keep it moving. Listen, y'all can reach out to us at Sound Gospel Radio if you want his information to do a follow up. Get on our mailing list, y'all, because we plan to have him back another time in the future. But this is what we're doing at Sound Gospel Radio. We're building hope. We're transforming lives 24/7. Good to see everybody. We'll be back next Thursday for our last show of the season. Our last show of the season is next Thursday night. So make sure you tune in to be a part of the fellowship here at Sound Gospel Radio. Again, we're building hope. We're transferring lives 24/7.
Building hope. Transforming lives 24/7. Sound Gospel Radio.